G'day guys. So this video is coming a little bit early. I've been informed that we'll have a tiny child running around tomorrow, so it's impracticable to film this during the day. Might be a little bit loud and lots of back noises, but I'm doing this here at, 1 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah.
Yeah, so today I'll be separating some egg sacs from 2 adult female funnelwebs of different species. And they are the Atrax Robustus, Sydney Funnelweb, and Hadronyche Cerberea, which is the Southern Tree-Dwellers. I believe I filmed another intro for these guys, so if that makes it into the cut, I apologise. But first, I'm going to talk about the method of incubation I'll be using for the days between taking the sac from mum, which is, I believe, lay date 30 days, and possible 55-day hatch day. Although they will be cut a little bit and checked on before that point, and I'll film that for you guys as well. So all this is 2 containers, one smaller than the other, but same width. The bottom is cut out of the smaller container and replaced with a stocking. Now, the stocking obviously allows the water in the larger container to evaporate through it and moisturize the egg sac and keep the eggs at their ideal moisture level. This method is used predominantly with tarantulas and things like that, where females are known to eat their egg sacs. I personally will be using it for the funnelwebs, in the hopes that it works the same way. The only difference being adult female tarantulas will actually roll their egg sacs in order to stop the babies from sticking together and keep that humidity all round as a constant. Typically, I haven't seen any instances of funnelwebs doing that. My Sydney Funnelweb had hers suspended and attached to the sides, so there was no way for her to actually roll that. And the Hadronyche Cerberea was set up in a taller enclosure, so I'm thinking that moisture travelling upways was able to get to both sides of the eggs anyway, and I did not see her really taking care of the eggs until the last, 2 weeks or so. But anyway, with that said, we will move on to the separation of these egg sacs and probably some good videos of the parents, I believe. I did say that I was going to be doing some egg cuttings tonight, but I've had some information from a really good friend of mine that perhaps is too early and that might be dangerous to the egg sacs, but I will be filming the removal of both Hadronyche Cerberea and Atrax Robustus tonight, so you'll get to see the females in all their glory protecting their eggs. First species we're doing is Hadronyche Cerberea, the Southern Tree-Dwelling Funnelweb. These guys are located from the south of the Hunter River and into northern Sydney in sclerophyll forests, usually, hiding in harder bark trees or sclerophyll paper barks. I collected this female some months ago from Woy Woy. Typically, they're about 60 millimeters to 70 millimeters in length, leg span, I should say. This is day 30 of the incubation of her egg sac. I've left them with her as I feel like that's probably in the best interest of the babies. We're not sure on when an actual hatch day would be, but if it's anything like the tarantulas, we're looking at day 55 thereabouts. So we're going to make the move to move them into some incubation containers so that they can continue the rest of the process, and I won't have to worry about separating mum and babies running around or whatever. So, let's get into it. You'll notice that my typical setup for these guys is the paper bark over the top, because that's the trees that they come from. I feel like this would make it more at home for them. I'll also point out that this paper bark has been lifted before this point, so her webbing has come away from the paper bark itself. There you go, you can see a little leg hanging out the back there. Let's try and move that out of the way. See if I can get a good zoom in. Yeah, there she is. Alright, so this is Mum just here. She's been seen sitting on her children more often in the last 2 weeks, thereabouts. Before that, I thought, because I collected her straight out of a paper bark and pulled the egg sac out with her, I thought she may have abandoned her babies, but by the looks of it, she has selected to keep hold of them and keep incubating them, which is good for us here. But yeah, I don't know what kind of aggression she's going to have. When I picked her up the first time, she was not very aggressive, so I guess we'll figure it out one way or another. Alright, I'm going to try and just cut the web above her in the hopes that we can separate her out first before getting to the egg sac. Now there you go, you can see the egg sac just there. Actually, I might actually be able to get the egg sac out without annoying her too much, but I will get her out for everyone to have a look at. It's just a matter of carefully trimming only the webbing of the typical funnel rather than the casing that the eggs are being housed in. Oh, buggered that up. We'll see how connected they are to the floor. Couple of trip lines here. All right. So that is egg sac away. Hopefully. Should be only one more thread holding it on, and then we can get to having a look at the big girl. Alright, beautiful. Wear away. Now, I need... that'll work. You'll notice that I will be transferring into these incubation tubs I have spoken about earlier. Just water on the bottom. The humidity rises up through the heat of the day and humidifies the baby so they can do what they need to. Now, unlike tarantulas, I don't believe these need to be tossed, as a mother tarantula will do that with her young, typically 2 times a day, thereabouts. But I will be doing that anyway just to be sure that these guys are safe. and hopefully we get the best result out of the egg sac that we can. Alright, so I'll see if we can get this girl out, so that way everyone can sort of see. I feel really bad for demolishing her house. She spent so long on it. It also is important to note that this house that I'm cutting into right now is the exact same one that she was in when I originally pulled her out of the tree. So alrighty. See if we can get her to do a bit of stand up. That's her. What do you reckon? 70mm leg span? Yeah. She doesn't seem to be a fan. She's a little bit flighty. It's funny, the babies of this species are typically much more aggressive. I've attempted to pull them out of the trees and separated the webbing and had them just hanging on to the tree at a 90-degree angle, just fangs ready to go, you know, business straight away. I do have my housemate Tors here at the moment with a container just in case she decides to run. But I don't think we're going to have that problem today. She doesn't seem like much of a runner. She just doesn't like being touched. You'll also notice just on the side of her down here, without touching her, there are these little white mites crawling over her. That is typical of a wild-caught specimen. They're spider mite. They are harmless, but if kept in a nice moist environment, they can actually breed to excessive numbers, and they're a pain in the ass. I have been told of another mite species that does actually eat on them, purely predatory, but I myself have not gotten into testing these yet. Alright, so next thing's up is we're going to separate her, and I'm going to build her a new cage, and we'll work out, you know, how she's going to go from there, feeding regimes, whatever. Alright, we'll be back in, what do you reckon, 5 minutes or so?
Yeah.
Instantly for you guys. Alrighty guys, so I've got to apologise for this video. When I first collected this girl several months ago, I expected that she was just a large female and I wanted a display enclosure for her. Unfortunately, she went into hiding and decided to refuse food and then laid me an egg sac, which is going to be a pain to get to. So this video might be a little bit more bodgy than the other one. So this is the Atrax Robustus, the Sydney Funnelweb. I collected her from Hornsby area, North Sydney. Typically these guys get between 70 and 80mm with a body length of 35mm. This girl is as large as she will ever get. She is the largest funnelweb I have ever collected, and she has a leg span of 8 centimeters. This is also day 30 of her incubation. Luckily enough, the day that I went and collected the Southern Tree-Dweller girl, she laid her sack, so it's been good. Yeah, I had her for about a month before she laid the sack. She refused to eat, killed everything that entered her enclosure, but just would not eat no matter how hard we tried. And then she built a tunnel that dug down halfway into the dirt, and just completely sealed it off. So there was a little egg-shaped cave inside her enclosure. And left to her own devices, as I said, she laid me an egg sac. Again, we think that this will hatch about day 55, and this is day 30 now. These guys are found typically from northern Sydney, Gosford area, Newcastle, all the way down to Nowra, believe it or not. There's a little bit of locality dimorphism between them. It seems the further south that you go, the smaller the max adults seem to be. Northern varieties ending at about 80 millimeters, and southern typically 60 to 65 millimeters as adults. Alright, so I'm going to give this my all and attempt to get this out without blocking the video too much. Sort of at an awkward angle, so first we'll remove the moss and see what happens. As I said, she has sectioned off the tunnel, as you can see. Now, it's seriously is right down here. We're trying to get as much light into it that we can. I'm going ever so careful because I don't want to enter her tunnel and cave it in on itself. And I do not want her to get the feeling that we're coming and be ready. I actually want her to be as non-ready as possible. Alright, you can see just a little bit of white starting to come through there. That is the egg sac. Oh no, I might need to empty out some of this dirt to do it this way. If it gets bad enough, I will lay this thing on its side and try filming that way. But so far, I think we're in the good territory at the moment. Like all funnels, these guys here require a lot, and I mean a lot of humidity to thrive. Too little will actually kill them. They'll dry out and lose hydraulic pressure in their legs, and then that's it. In the beginning, I had several females that just did not survive, just would not make it until I got this right. I've been keeping them for 6 years now, it would be. Thereabouts. Alright, here we go. Alright, and that's the egg sac just there that we can see. Oh, I guess I don't know how we're going to get Mum out of here without, losing fingers. Like I said, I'm trying to film this as best as I can, but I'm also trying to keep all of the safety precautions in place, because as we all know, these guys are very, very deadly. I believe there has been one death from these guys in the last 10 years or so on a little kid, and it killed him in 15 minutes. So that tells you just how deadly these guys actually are. Might be able to separate the egg sac and then give Mum a go, but because I'm pretty sure she's directly under it. It's just a matter of working out where we are anchored to. There we go. Mum got wind of us. You can just see her down here.
That's a little leg on the side there.
She is not happy that we are here. There you go. Let's see if I can get a better video of it. Now she's moved. Of course, as soon as I get it in there, she moves. Watch this though. Now that's Mum down there.
Oh, there's a cranky Mum.
You can see she is not a fan of us being here. And I'm hoping these fangs are not going through the babies. There we go. Babies are now out. And that's Mum. Like I said, she's about as large as a Sydney funnel will get, with a leg span of about 80 millimeters, I think I last measured her at. Alright guys, we're going to chop and change here, and we'll get some photos of her out and about. Alright, and this is her out of the enclosure. I said this is the largest funnel web I've ever dug up. This is about max for this species. She is a very aggressive individual. Whether or not she'll show you, I don't... Oh, yeah, she's going to rear up for you. Now, a lot of people have... Oh, there you go, that's a good example. The theory that they can jump. Now, I can tell you if she could jump, she would have been out of this enclosure and onto me way before this point. Lots of people have asked also whether I'm scared of them, or... I think a better term is that I am respectful of the species that I keep. And I'm educated enough to know what can happen. And I take all of the precautions to avoid incidents. Well, there you go. Now I'll just release her into her enclosure. Which is always a fun experience.
Just to clarify, I'm on hand with a container and a phone in case something bad happens.
Just gotta work out how the hell I'm doing this now. I think I'm going to use just a little corner like that. And hopefully she won't run across the table. Although I think she's too busy wanting to bite my hand off. Oh, there we go. Beautiful. And without incident, 2 egg sacs have been removed from 2 females. Thanks for watching, guys. Remember, if you enjoyed what you watched or thought it was educational, remember to give it that thumbs up, give it a like, share it on Facebook, share it around. This is Sam from Invertebrate Forum Australia, signing off.